In April 1989, at the FIBA Congress in Munich, the International Basketball Federation voted to allow professional players to compete in the Olympics, overturning decades of amateur-only policy and opening the door to NBA stars. The change followed the United States' surprising failure to win gold at the 1988 Seoul Olympics, September 17th through October 2nd, 1988, when a largely amateur U.S. squad settled for bronze and prompted calls within Washington and USA Basketball for a new, unbeatable roster. By July 1992, the moment had crystallized. Michael Jordan, fresh off NBA championships with the Chicago Bulls in 1991 and 1992, Magic Johnson, whose 1991 announcement that he was HIV positive made him a global symbol of resilience, and Larry Bird, the Celtics legend in his final NBA season in 1991 through 1992, were household names around the world. U.S. officials, NBA executives, coaches, and the global media rallied around the idea of an all-star professional team for the Barcelona Games, July 25th through August 9th, 1992. A project equal parts sport and soft power. The politics were explicit. Restore U.S. basketball prestige. The spectacle was commercial. TV rights and sponsorships. The stakes were high to redefine Olympic basketball and accelerate the sport's worldwide growth. Coach Chuck Daly would ultimately lead roster selection. In July 1992, just weeks before the Barcelona Games, July 25th through August 9th, Coach Chuck Daly gathered a constellation of NBA stars to finalize a roster that read like a who's who. Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Scottie Pippen, Clyde Drexler, Chris Mullin, and Christian Laettner, the lone collegian from Duke's 1992 championship team. Selection was both political and pragmatic. USA Basketball, the NBA, and Daly negotiated positions, minutes, and roles to try to blend individual legend with collective purpose. That bargain produced immediate friction. Barkley bristled at perceived rebounding hierarchies. Malone and Stockton rehearsed pick-and-roll chemistry, but still debated who would be the primary scorer. Jordan's mercurial competitiveness sometimes clashed with others' touches. Practices in July felt theatrical, a kind of Baroque ballet of elite skill. Magic's panoramic passing, Jordan's ruthless cuts, and Bird's pinpoint shooting. Every move was part audition, part provocation. Subscribe. Maybe it would have settled the minutes debate. Laettner, 23, carried the odd man out scrutiny, but he answered with stout defense and blue-collar screens that earned veteran nods. Exhibition games sharpened the picture. Jordan-Pippen alley-oops and Stockton to Malone sequences punctured skeptics, while tense exchanges in timeouts and huddles hinted at unresolved pecking orders. Media eyes magnified every interaction, and European crowds watched as this mercurial fellowship tried to turn atomized greatness into an orchestra. By the time the team boarded for Barcelona, chemistry had settled into brittle cohesion, moments of telepathic play and moments of sparring, setting the stage for a deeper test once the Olympic horn sounded. Could individual brilliance be subordinated to a structure strong enough to produce gold? In Barcelona during the 1992 Olympics, July 25th through August 9th, the Dream Team turned group play into a gilded clinic of basketball, transforming exhibition routines into a public lesson in offense and flair. From the opening whistle, the roster ran inventive sets. Magic Johnson scanning the floor with panoramic Baroque no-look passes. John Stockton and Karl Malone running a practiced pick-and-roll. Michael Jordan slicing to the rim with mercurial ferocity. And Charles Barkley and David Robinson imposing a bruising, magisterial presence inside. The on-court choreography produced alley-oops, cross-court dimes, and highlight dunks that drew sustained roars from arenas and record television audiences worldwide. The spectacle was intentional. Showmanship served instruction and exposed a real competitive gap between the U.S. and conventional national teams. Magic's return in Barcelona carried sharp human weight. After announcing his HIV diagnosis on November 7, 1991, his presence was both athletic and iconic, and cameras caught emotional embraces with teammates and fans who saw resilience as both performance and principle. Off the ball, Larry Bird and Michael Jordan evolved from the rivals of the 1980s into cautious collaborators, trading respect in huddles and occasional feed and finish plays that hinted at a fragile, growing rapport. International reaction was immediate and intense. European journalists dissected American spacing and tempo, youth players in Spain and beyond picked up simple drills, and NBA interest spiked across scouting networks. In the knockout rounds, the team's dominance hardened into inevitability. Tactical improvisation met polished execution. Opponents folded under relentless tempo and individual brilliance, and the Americans advanced through the medal rounds with authoritative margins, an average winning margin so vast it reshaped global expectations. Yet beneath the gilded triumphs, interpersonal frictions and the pressure of representing U.S. soft power pulled taut like a string, setting the stage for the tests that would follow. By early August 1992 in Barcelona, as the Olympic tournament moved toward its summit, the Dream Team stopped the theatrics and settled into a blunt, functional unity. Chuck Daly, pragmatic and austere, tightened rotations and gave one clear instruction in the locker room: play unselfishly and let individual excellence support the team. That command forced role acceptance. Charles Barkley ceded chase rebounds to David Robinson when the defensive scheme demanded rim protection. Scottie Pippen embraced more ball distribution when Michael Jordan hunted efficient finishes. John Stockton set aside a scoring obsession to run the pick and roll with Karl Malone as set plays replaced ego. In the semifinal rounds, the team's tactical outline crystallized. Magic Johnson's panoramic passing steadied the tempo, Larry Bird spaced the floor with dead-eye accuracy, and Clyde Drexler attacked the seams created by those long-range threats. Decisive plays arrived not as lone heroics, but as collaborative strikes, alley-oops finished after Stockton-Malone screens, backdoor cuts fed by Jordan's collapse draws, and defensive rotations that turned opponent transition chances into fast break points. Off the court, a terse locker room exchange after a tighter-than-expected victory became a watershed moment. Veterans spoke plainly about responsibility, younger players listened, and a collective humility took root. In Barcelona's press rooms and terraces, media obligations amplified that narrative as players habitually deflected praise, framing wins as team achievements rather than personal conquests. That behavioral shift converted brittle cohesion into reliable chemistry. By the time the gold medal matchup loomed, lingering doubts had been excised. What remained was a gilded ensemble that had learned to sacrifice shots, share glory, and execute as a single dominant organism poised for the final crucible. On August 8, 1992, at Barcelona's Palau Sant Jordi, the Dream Team turned years of accumulated craft into a decisive coronation. From the opening minutes, Michael Jordan sliced to the basket, Scottie Pippen disrupted passing lanes, and John Stockton and Karl Malone ran pick and rolls that cleaved defenses. Larry Bird spaced the court with surgical three-pointers, while Magic Johnson orchestrated with visionary, dazzling passes. Charles Barkley and David Robinson patrolled the paint with imposing force, Clyde Drexler and Chris Mullin supplied tempo and shooting, and Christian Leitner absorbed every veteran nod as the lone amateur. The game never tightened. The scoreboard read 117-85 when the final buzzer sounded, a result that felt equal parts spectacle and surgical dominance. The arena erupted into a volcanic roar as cameras swarmed, teammates embraced, and the Croatian squad offered dignified handshakes that underscored global sportsmanship. On the medal podium, the Star-Spangled Banner played as gold medals were draped and photographers captured canonical images. Men in red, white, and blue linked arm in arm, Magic and Jordan standing amid a gilded constellation, Leitner and Barkley smiling with medals heavy around their necks. That immediate aftermath, ecstatic, ceremonial, televisual, sealed the Dream Team's legend and set in motion the broader global transformation that followed. After their performance in Barcelona on August 8, 1992, the Dream Team's gilded coronation accelerated basketball's globalization. Televised highlights and expanded NBA broadcasts opened markets across Europe, Asia, and Latin America. And in the following decade, players such as Dirk Nowitzki, Tony Parker, and Pau Gasol joined the league and helped transform its style. National federations invested in youth academies, scouting, and coach education. Programs from Spain to Argentina retooled development pipelines. Marketing, endorsements, and global tours reframed basketball as a commercial spectacle. Critics argued the team's overwhelming dominance exposed a temporary competitive gulf and helped commercialize the Olympic ideal, a tension that felt exhilarating to fans and alarming to purists. Yet the lasting imprint is unmistakable. A more skilled, cosmopolitan NBA and deeper international competition, both tracing their lineage to that Barcelona summer. an enduring paradox of sport and global showmanship that still shapes the game.